I remember when I made that decision to be no longer depressed, no longer have anxiety, no longer be addicted, no longer be broken, no longer to be hurt. I remember that day on that couch in the fetal position, curled up, tears rolling down my eyes, in the darkness, no electricity, freezing cold waters, nothing to watch, nothing to listen to, but just natural sounds. The little insects hitting my windows. All the bugs that were hitting the windows. Natural sounds, the cars driving through the street. I remember that time. I was so depressed. I was hurt. I was broken. I was cheating on women. I was addicted to gambling. I filed Chapter 7 bankruptcy, broke, disgusted. I remember that time. Fetal position on the couch in despair. I had to ask myself 3 questions. I said, Josh, what are you focusing on right now? Are you focusing on your past? What are you focusing on? Get yourself together. Tighten up. Change your state. Change your physiology. Do something radical. Bust a move like Mike Jackson. And I rose up. And I said, I can do this. I can start to love me. I can start to heal. I can start to be happy. I can start to be joyful. I can start to have a fulfilled life. I can do that. But I had to get resourceful. I had maxed out all my resources. They no longer were there. I had to get resourceful. That means I had to come back home to me. I had to be more creative. I had to be curious about life and where I was at and where I wanted to be. I had to stop focusing in my past and what I used to do. Because remember this, used to bees don't make honey. I got myself together. And I asked 3 questions. Josh, what are you focusing on? And I knew I was focusing on my past. I had to get in the now. I had to get present with my life now. And then I asked the second question. I said, what is it costing you, son, to be in your past? It was costing me my mental health. It was costing me to be emotionally drained, not emotionally intelligent. It was costing me to be frustrated, upset, beaten, broken, in despair, disgusted, insecure, low self-esteem, no love for me, no like for me. That's what it was costing me. And then third question I asked myself, what are you gonna do about it? And then that's when I changed the state, my physiology. I put my shoulders back. I took deep breaths and I started to breathe naturally and started to appreciate the breaths. I walked in the bathroom. I turned the shower on, freezing cold water, and I jumped in that shower, and I started to breathe. And every time I would breathe, the water would just get warmer and warmer. You think it's crazy, but it's real. And at that time, I knew I had the power to transform my life. And that day, I transformed my life because I no longer wanted to be conformed to the world. I wanted to be transformed by the renewing of my mind. And I remember that old African proverb that says, when there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. I had to come back home. I stopped looking outside for validation from women. I stopped looking outside for validation from gambling. I stopped looking outside for validation from things. I stopped looking outside for validation from other people. I stopped looking for outside validation from payday loans and getting loans from other people. I stopped looking for that. And I came back home to me. And I started to love me. And I started to heal. And I started to love me. And I started to like me. Freezing cold water, breathing, and understanding that I had the power to break all cycles, to break all patterns. And that's what I did. And I'm living day fulfilled and joyful every single day. I'm encouraging you while you're here to be inspired, to be motivated, and be ready to decide to take action on your life. Because I made a decision that day. I decided that I was no longer living like that. I was no longer going to be broken in despair, being a victim. I had to rise and soar like the eagle above the storm. That's what I did. You can.